She arrived in a cloud of legend, a queen from a far-off land, leading a caravan so vast it seemed to darken the road, camels bent under gold and spices and jewels, come to test the wisest king who ever lived. She asked King Solomon her hardest questions, and he answered every one. And then, as suddenly as she had come, she vanished. For 3,000 years, the world has told her story, that she was an Ethiopian queen, that she bore Solomon a son, that her descendants ruled a nation into living memory, and even carried the Ark of the Covenant to Africa. Some say her tomb has finally been found. But here is the strange truth. Almost none of it can be proven. And what the evidence actually shows is stranger than the legend. We have found her kingdom. We have not found the queen. Let's start with where she enters recorded history, in the Bible. In the Book of Kings, the Queen of Sheba hears of Solomon's fame and travels a great distance to see it for herself. She arrives with a caravan of camels carrying spices and gold and precious stones, and she tests him with hard questions, the riddles and problems meant to find the limits of his famous wisdom. Solomon answers all of them. Overwhelmed, she praises his kingdom, they exchange lavish gifts, and she returns to her own land. It is a short account, just a handful of verses, but it left behind a queen so magnetic that 3 of the world's great religions would spend the next 2,000 years arguing over who she really was. So, was there a real kingdom of Sheba? On this, the answer is yes. Sheba, or Saba, was a genuine ancient power. It sat in the southwestern corner of Arabia, in what is now Yemen, with its capital at a city called Marib. And it was fabulously wealthy, because it controlled the trade in frankincense and myrrh, the rare aromatic resins that the ancient world burned by the ton in its temples and at its funerals. Whoever controlled that trade controlled a river of gold. And this is not guesswork. Ancient Assyrian records mention Sabaean rulers by name. Inscriptions from the kingdom survive, naming its kings and recording its history. And at Marib still stand the ruins of an enormous temple, a place of pilgrimage that stayed in use for over 1,000 years. So Sheba was not an imaginary kingdom. Saba was real, and its cities, its temples, and its extraordinary wealth are still in the ground. But there is a problem. The clearest archaeological evidence for Saba comes from after the time when Solomon is traditionally supposed to have lived. Archaeology can give us her kingdom. It has not yet given us her. And that is the deeper mystery. Because for all that we know about the kingdom, we know almost nothing about the queen. There is no tomb we can point to as hers, no palace confirmed as her own, and among all the inscriptions discovered so far, not one names the woman we are looking for. No Queen of Sheba, no journey to Jerusalem, no Solomon. The kingdom left its mark in stone. The woman at the center of the legend left none. Now, this does not mean she is impossible. The ancient Arabian world really did have ruling queens. Assyrian kings recorded going to war against queens of the Arab tribes, so a powerful woman on a southern throne is entirely plausible. But plausible is not the same as proven. Was she a real ruler whose inscription simply has not survived? Was the queen of the Bible shaped, over time, from older memories of powerful Arabian women? Or was she always, above all, a figure of story? Archaeology cannot yet tell us. And then there is the oldest argument of all. Where was she from? The mainstream answer points to Saba in Yemen, but there is another tradition, far to the south, that has never doubted the answer for a moment. In Ethiopian tradition, the Queen of Sheba is not a mystery at all. She is Makeda, the mother of a royal line. According to a revered national epic called the Kebra Nagast, written down in the 14th century, Makeda traveled from Ethiopia to Solomon and returned carrying his child, a son named Menelik. From that son, the story says, descended the entire royal line of Ethiopia, a dynasty that claimed her blood right up until the 20th century. And in that same tradition, it was Menelik who carried the Ark of the Covenant out of Jerusalem and into Ethiopia, where believers say it still rests today. In that tradition, the Queen of Sheba is not lost at all. She is the mother of the nation. Historians treat the Kibra Nagast as a later sacred story, rather than a historical record. But it is a living one, and it shows how completely a single figure can shape the identity of a people, 3,000 years after she is said to have lived. Every so often, a new headline claims her tomb has finally been located. In Yemen, in Ethiopia, once, even in Nigeria. So far, none of them has held up. Even that great temple at Marib carries her name, Mahram Bilqis, only because a much later tradition attached it to her, not because anyone ever proved she built it. And that is the honest heart of this story. The legend hands you a definite woman, an Ethiopian queen, mother of kings, keeper of the ark. The evidence hands you something stranger, a real glittering kingdom, rich beyond imagining, that we can dig up and read and date. And at the center of it, a queen who is everywhere in scripture and legend, and nowhere in the ground. So which is she? A single lost queen, waiting under the sands of Yemen for someone to find her name? A memory shaped from many? Or Makeda of Ethiopia, exactly as an ancient people have believed for centuries? And for now, archaeology cannot choose between them. Because the one discovery that could transform this story, her own name, securely dated to the time she is supposed to have lived, has never been found. So here is my question for you. Do you think the Queen of Sheba was one real woman, or a legend grown from many? And where do you believe she ruled, in Arabia or in Africa? Tell me in the comments. I read them. And if you like the ones where we separate the legend from the history, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.